Well, welcome everybody to the Morning Update Show. Happy Monday to you and happy Labor Day for those of you who are at home enjoying the fruits of your labor, getting some rest in. We got one of our peeps back from doing a little bit of labor rest, but also still labor intensive while he was away. I'm excited to be back with my bro, throwing it right on over to our guy, Big O. What up, Big O? Welcome back, baby.
Man, what's up, Trey Holiday?
Hey.
It's good to be back.
Right?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. I mean, I'm feeling good. Clearly, we're up here in Cal Anderson, so some things don't change. But man, it's really good to be back here. You know, I was able to take a few days. I took young Omari out to Chicago. You guys saw some clips out there. Able to visit some family down south. And so, you know, I mean, when I do take a day off or two, I got to do everything at one time so I can be right here on the set. Right
on, man. We appreciate all your hard work over there, too. Always sending us the headlines, bro, keeping us going, baby.
Hey, the grind is real.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? We're up here at Cal Anderson Park today. We're going to be broadcasting live this whole week. We're getting out the studio. Big shout out to Dancing Rain Media. Daryl, he broke out his outdoor kit. You know, we got the indoor kit these days. He broke out the outdoor kit. And we haven't been outdoors together since the days of CHOP.
I know. I'm heavy in the protest, man. Yeah. We were all the way down there in the middle of all of it, man.
I mean, I think we might have been the only network, however you categorize us, to do a morning show live from the CHOP. Every single weekday we were there. So this is our first time being back out here, you know, in the open air since CHOP, and it's a beautiful day out here. Yeah. Tomorrow we'll be downtown. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday we're going to be in the Central District. Yeah. In our neighborhood. You know, Throwback Thursday we're going to be up there by Garfield High School. Friday we're at Rooted.
Yeah, we're at Rooted on Friday, showing some love to another community spot. It's about to be another central hub for folks as we get some good food and good conversation, man.
Yeah, this is good. And you know, the best thing about live is there's always lots of challenges. Windstorm coming in. So actually, when we were setting up here about 20 minutes ago, there was nothing behind us. But we might as well explain before we jump into the headlines what actually has popped up literally right behind us. There's a mutual aid set up here. People have been following the protests. You're probably familiar with the term mutual aid. But basically, mutual aid is just that. People donate different things, clothing and food, water, everything else. And then other people are able to come by and basically get it for free for people in need. We're going to lose your tent over there, huh? And so, yeah, this is kind of what's going on. We're going to be talking about Cal Anderson and kind of what's been occurring up here since the end of the CHOP, basically. You know, there was the shelter. It got swept. Then it thrived again. Then it got swept again. And now it's fenced around. But there's still clearly people here. And Cal Anderson has very much been a flashpoint of so many things that have been going on, you know, the last few months.
Absolutely.
So we're gonna jump into it. I don't have a monitor in front of me today, so I'm going to be asking Daryl to bring the clips up for me. So are we ready with the first one here, Daryl? Okay. So, I mean, this is unfortunate. We start with this, but this is a sense of urgency, so we need to bring it right up. Another homicide in Seattle. This was Saturday, and I just heard from the public information over there was another shooting last night as well. The homicide, it looks like it occurred probably around 6:45 a.m. and on the Mount Baker Tunnel. And so, you know, again, the Seattle police are looking for leads on that. It was a drive-by shooting last night. There's a epidemic of gun violence that's occurring in Seattle right now, and I know a lot of the conversation is around you know, protests. There's a lot of conversation that's around COVID and everything else. But man, this is a very big problem, and it's impacting our community almost daily.
Absolutely. And like you said before, we keep seeing this in our community, and we understand that we're connected to a lot of these families. At the end of the day, we see the ones who are left to grieve and mourn in their family members' behest. And this is the things that we want to bring. We want to really bring that healing and resilience back into our communities, because this gun violence keeps plaguing our communities, bro. It just keeps doing it. So we definitely need more answers and more preventative measures to end all of this.
Right. And one of the things, actually, we'll get to this clip, is people who are trying to address that. Donita Sinclair, whose son, Lorenzo Anderson, was actually killed just a few hundred feet away from here back on June 20th. And she's been having the healing and rebuilding community conversations at Jimi Hendrix Park. The next thing that I wanted to bring up here is, again, in our neighborhood, 28th and Jackson. If you grew up there, if you're old school like me, then you used to call it the Deuce 8 store.
Deuce 8.
You know what I'm saying?
Still do.
Yeah, it's still the Deuce 8 store. Then you got the chicken store on MLK in Jackson. Man, their store has been around for a long time. Actually, I remember back when there was some guys from Garfield that were actually running the store. This was like when I was a small kid. But basically, the owners over there. This is from the Emerald. It says. They're doing over there at Sammy's store is they've launched a GoFundMe because they want to be able to renovate the store. And you know, if you're like, GoFundMe for renovation for a store, but what they want to do is make it more than a store, make it actually a community resource center. They want to be able to have, you know, fresh or organic food there and some of everything else. And this is really, it's caught on. This is a story that's actually gone on in the city. We've seen the Sammy store on 28th and Jackson, this story pop up on a lot of different media outlets.
Yeah, I love that because once again, it's another example of how community comes together. What I love is that the photo that's in the Emerald showcases Naima Clark there dropping off some organic produce from Nurturing Roots Farm. And that's what I'm talking about.
Right.
It's about the collaborations that can happen in community, and our community hubs, especially community businesses, really showcase that to the upteenth level. So I love seeing this because, again, it's another showcasing of the resilience that our community does. And there's a lot of connections and resources in the community. And when we have the hubs, those resources and connections can be showcased and elevated. So I love this story.
Right. And you can read more about that at the South Seattle Emerald. Next headline comes to us from the Everett Daily Herald. And it's an Everett man, the SPD. You got this clip up here? SPD bagged him. His name's Jacob D. Little. And apparently he was the person who took one of the high-powered firearms and silencer and some other stuff out of a police cruiser while it was on fire back on May 30th. And apparently he took pictures with the weapon. He did quite a few other things. But it turns out that I believe there's more than one gun that came up missing. And so, but they, the feds basically got Jacob D. Little from Everett for the firearm that was removed from the police cruiser. Keeping it on this May 30th, in Tacoma, task force down there arrested a woman there, Margaret Shannon, for setting the police cars on fire. So we actually have a clip here from King 5 on how they explain how they've tracked what they're referring to as the arsonists who set the police cars on fire on May 30th. If you could play that clip for us, Daryl.
The FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force moved in on this Tacoma home before noon today. Neighbors heard glass shattering and flashbang grenades as agents swarmed the rented home on South G Street.
It's just scary to have that a couple houses down from you and having no idea, you know, what's going on.
These evidence photos from May 30th show who the task force was after. This woman is accused of setting fire to 5 police vehicles parked in the Pine Street area when vandals and looters tore through downtown.
I'm all for peaceful protesting that's going on right now, but the whole anarchy thing of setting things on fire and destroying things and destroying property like that, it doesn't solve anything.
A federal criminal complaint says agents zoomed in on social media photos and saw the arsonist has a tattoo on her hand that says WAIF, W-A-I-F. Agents searched for matching tattoos in the missing persons database and found Margaret A. Channon, missing out of Texas, with a distinguishable WAIF tattoo on her left hand. Agents learned she now lives in the G Street home in Tacoma and ID'd her as their suspect.
The house is being rented by a woman who's only been there a short time. She didn't want to talk to us on camera, but she told neighbors that Margaret Channon is a friend who had fallen on hard times and was staying with her for a while.
The feds don't believe Channon is part of any extremist group, that she came to Seattle and joined the protests, acting on her own. In Tacoma, Chris Ingalls, King 5 News.
All right, so
man, they're doing their due diligence, man. We knew that we were going to have to follow these stories because there was a lot of uptick in violence, and there's been a lot of cases, honestly, trying to nail down these suspects, man.
Well, I mean, you know, I think there's a lot of things that won't get solved.
Yeah.
But setting a police car on fire, you could probably expect that they're going to use all the resources to be able to track that down. So they served the warrant down there in Tacoma, and this woman is now in custody. Also, people, I know a lot of people are just jumping into the stream. We're here at Cal Anderson Park, Capitol Hill, neighborhood, Seattle. Almost everybody, Cal Anderson Park is internationally known at this point. Of course, back during the protests here, this was the epicenter of Chaz and Chop and everything else. And we got Bobby Stills is going to be in later on in the show, because it's been a lot of stuff that's going on. And Bobby's actually been going to the weekly meetings that have been occurring up here. And he's kind of got a finger on the pulse. It's a lot of pulses, though. I don't know how many fingers Bobby got, but it's a lot of. Oh, that's the most important one, huh? Okay. There's a lot of pulses up here, and we've also got Jason Beverly, who's going to be joining us as well from the Engage team, talking about what they've been doing. But moving on in the headlines here, this comes from the South Seattle Emerald. You got this one up there, Daryl? South Seattle Emerald. Great. It says Seed Seattle's Lance Randall running for mayor against incumbent Durkin in 2021. So basically, Lance Randall is from South Seattle, and he serves as Seed Seattle's Director of Economic Development and Interim Executive Director. And he's put his name into the ring to run against Mayor Durkin. And so, the race is far out. It's next year. But he's already put his name out there, and it's a black man. And, I guess it's been the 80s since Seattle's had a black mayor. It was, of course, Mayor Norman B. Rice. Mm-hmm. And so it's already going to be looking interesting for 2021. And, Mayor Durkin, imagine this, if she gets through all of this, you know what I'm saying? And there's a recall effort that's going to the Supreme Court. If they get through all of this, it'll be a very interesting race in 2021.
Absolutely. This is the thing. I saw this on our storyline today, and I went, wow. I tell you, I guarantee you this much. There's going to be an uptick in the searches that people do trying to get to learn Mr. Lance here. I guarantee you that, because once again, understanding who we're voting for in office, that understanding now, the veil has been lifted, and there's a lot of people who are doing exactly what you encourage them to do. They're taking their stake back in this country. They're not going to allow, just because he's a black man, like what we said with Joe Biden, right? Just because you're going against Trump doesn't mean you have the black vote. And I think the same thing is true here, that people are going to be doing their research, man. So I encourage Mr. Lance, get to know us. We want to get to know him. I love the fact that somebody's already stepping up, because they see that there is a mishap in leadership throughout this city. And a lot of folks that are on the ground have been talking about a lot of the voids. So I'm excited to start to hear about what he's going to be doing to change some of those things and be effective in this city.
Right. Well, the thing is that Lance Randall comes with an economic and a development background. There's a lot of people. The business sector here is very upset on a lot of stuff that's happening here in Seattle. We see that, a lot of bigger businesses like Amazon are moving away. There's a lot of businesses that are struggling. Over 100 businesses have closed in downtown Seattle, and most likely won't open back up.
Yeah.
And so, the business side is really suffering in that sense. And actually, we're doing a profile on a few businesses this week, because we want to be able to support as many small businesses as possible and bring awareness to what's going on with them. But so you have the whole economic sector, then there's the COVID sector, and then there's the social justice sector as well. And Mayor Durkin has made a lot of promises, and 2021 is when a lot of those promises are supposed to be fulfilled. So, I'm sure that Lance isn't going to be the only name or hat that's thrown into the ring for the 2021 mayor's race, but they're starting early.
Yeah, clearly.
All right, so next one. This is actually a video clip right here. Something right up your alley, right? Africa Town.
Absolutely.
Giveaway, backpack giveaway.
Yeah, what an amazing event. Again, community coming together just to support the young folks going back to school. There's always some amazing supply giveaways and back to school drives that happen in our city every summer at the end of the summer. So these guys thought, you know what? It's time for us to step up and showcase to the community that we're here. You know what I mean? So I love that they put this event on for Africa Town Center for education and innovation.
All right, so here's a short clip right here provided by Africatown of backpack and school supply giveaway at Rainier Playfield.
We're giving back to our community during this pandemic where communities are hurting at the most. We are giving these backpacks, and this is what it's all about. As you can see, we got a variety of backpacks that are pre-stuffed. As you can see, they got all the school supplies. And we got a whole bunch of backpacks and supplies that we're, giving these families. So that's why we're here. Peace, love, and joy, y'all. Hope to see y'all here. We'll be here until 4 o'clock.
There it is, just a little clip of how our community comes together. And I'll say this, I brought my sons out there, and let me just say, they had the right vendors on deck. I think I went to every single booth and I purchased something from every single booth. I mean, talk about this. Let me just say, I think my favorite product of the day, hands down, was this lavender lemonade with sea moss, man. Shout out to that booth, and I will be bringing that information up because all of y'all out there got to try this lemonade, man. They had some amazing vendors, man. Got some great shirts from my brother Proof. You know what I'm saying? There's always some great stuff in our community to support, man.
Hey, man,
I love that.
Let's spend them dollars to community, man.
Yeah, I'm ready to pay the fee too. You know what I'm saying? For my community, man. That's what it's about. You know what I mean? We got to support those good ideas out there. The Mediums Collective was out there. They had the pay the fee shirts. So you guys are able to get those right now. You know what I'm saying? So I just love seeing our people do commerce, man, because we're good at it. We know what we want to buy.
Since you're over here plugging everything, let me take a moment for a shameless plug myself, Daryl. Is that we've got this Converge gear over here. You know what I'm saying? You can definitely support our efforts. This is community-based independent media. We operate off of donations and merch sales, so you could find out more about our merchandise. We got tank tops, it's warm. We got all that stuff at our website, whereweconverge.com. So yesterday's event, though, it didn't end without a little bit of controversy, huh? It looked like it was a Twitter beef going on in between King County Equity Now and the Seattle Parks Department. And apparently, what I'm understanding is that the security that the Parks Department hired threatened to call the police on the team that was over there that was organizing the school supply giveaway. Can you put this up, Daryl? King County Equity Now tweeted, "Security is threatening to call the police on black youth hosting a black school rally where they're handing out free school supplies to children. This is Durkin, Seattle. Her policies endanger black lives." And they put Rainier Playfield, right? Seattle Parks Department, it's the power of Twitter, I suppose. Seattle Parks Department tweets back, "This was a mix-up on our part. One of our security staff was unaware there was a backpack school supplies giveaway and called SPD to report unpermitted event. And once they were contacted, they called SPD back to correct the unwarranted call."
Yes.
So, I mean, this is the thing is like Parks is really getting hammered right now. We're not inside the park. Technically, this park is closed. And so, we wanted to go with the flow and not set up in the park. Right. That's why we're not actually in the park because, according to the Seattle Parks Department, Cal Anderson Park is closed, but we'll see. But again, the parks are becoming a very big issue. In all kinds of different ways. The parks are a place now for protest. The parks are a place of shelter. Parks are places where, with this weather is good, people are coming out, they're doing community events. In our neighborhood, a lot of people, because you can't really have a funeral, they're doing repasses at places like Jimi Hendrix Park. And there's a lot of activity in the parks. And then because of all the attention on this park, and people are like, well, man, if you're gonna arrest people at Cal Anderson, how come you're not doing this and that? There's security everywhere. I mean, I never thought that Seattle Parks Department would be in the middle of a lot of stuff this year.
I know. It's such a turn of events, honestly, to kind of watch all of these things unfold. And literally, we saw them, do the tweet out. But I think that, some of the messaging around this mishap, or what they were calling a mix-up, I think a lot of the education around that is super important. And that's why, King County Equity Now said, look, not only is this Durkin, Seattle, but these are the things that we need, specific demands that we need from the Seattle, from the city parks department,
Right.
and they started to list those out. So I think that again, some of these incidents really provide opportunities for people to see how things happen, kind of in closed doors, behind, Again, I said the bell is taking off. Oh, it's coming, man. People are
Every
seeing
crisis is an opportunity, though. Seattle Parks Department might want to implement a new protocol that, as opposed from a direct line from security to the police department, maybe there's security to a Parks Department supervisor.
Yeah.
And really, maybe it's the supervisor's job at that point then to engage the police. Because you would think that if the protocol is that the security would talk to Parks first and say, hey, we got these people here, what's up, what do you want me to do? And then Parks would tell them, like, well, they're not supposed to be here, they're supposed to be here, and everything else. So this might be an opportunity for Parks Department to amend their process or their protocol right now.
I agree.
Because, Parks is out here on the flip side, they're doing a lot of good things.
Right.
They've got the mobile showers, they activated the teen hubs now for the school year. For teens to be able to go there, use computers and innovation stuff. They've opened up a lot of spaces in the city for daycare. They're providing, I think, 550 spaces for childcare and everything else. But the actual parks, it's a problem.
Yeah. I think that you're right, too. And I think also one of the things that we're seeing happen in this country, what's also evolving, are just a lot of these hidden stories, right, of families that have suffered tragedy. And unfortunately, across the country, a lot of that stuff has been happening in parks. We saw the young man had the fake gun and he was in a park and then he gets shot. We saw another person who was lying on a bench. He got shot, over 40 times. We're seeing amazing stories that are coming out. So I think you're right in terms of the parks actually looking at some of their processes, being able to go back and revamp some things so that they are more in alignment with community, and also highlight their great efforts, because I think you're right in terms of them also doing good. And we don't want the community, we don't want people at large to only focus on the negative in any one case.
Yeah, my brother works at Parks, so I can tell you there's some good people at Parks.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? That's for sure. Just got a short clip right here from Curtis Calhoun. And Curtis, you can bring this up. Daryl, this is from the Healing and Rebuilding Community Conversation that happened at Jimi Hendrix Park. Like I said, in the parks. It's rolling right now. And so this was something, a brainchild of Donita Sinclair Martin. And it was her son, Lorenzo Anderson, who was actually murdered just a few hundred feet from here. On Juneteenth, actually June 20th. And one of the things Donita wanted to do, she was like, man, we just have to bring the community together to talk, to conversate. And I sat in on a few conversations a few weeks back, and it ranges on everything from super political issues, things on defund and public policy, to community issues. Like, man, what can the community be doing better to engage with the youth and with our neighbors?
Yeah, I think that I love this concept, especially coming from someone that is so steeped in all of this, like Donita, who really just took all of her pain, all of the grief that she was feeling, and said, it's not just me, it's other families, and how can we connect to them? And I think that shout out to her, shout out to all the people that are really doing this work. I'm seeing a lot of resilience work happening with families of gun violence or police violence. We're seeing the two kind of come out, and honestly, it really does take people to connect. And there is something special, honestly, to be said about a parent who has lost their child in a violent way, or about a family who has lost a family member due to a police brutality. So I think that both of these narratives and both of these kind of groups emerging out of this kind of these tragic events is a beautiful thing. And I'm so glad that people are having that connectivity amongst each other, because they're able to provide certain types of support that is so specific to their particular hurt and pain. So I'm loving that.
Yeah, I think also it highlights community taking care of community.
Period.
Because no matter what, at the end of the day, government can't solve all problems.
Right.
And government's not intended to solve all problems. Community can also take lead on community, and it's coming together to be able to address some of these things. Like I said, this issue, we started this show talking about this issue of gun violence here in Seattle. Mm-hmm. This is a very urgent issue in our city. Yeah. This is a very urgent issue, and it's becoming a point where we just see it on the SPD, on their Twitter, on their blotter, and then life just kind of goes on. And I know that there's a lot of people that are out there in these streets trying to impact. We work with Willard, Good Game Alert, Talked to Sean Good the other day. You had Dre Franklin on Friday.
Yep.
Coach Don. But man, we need our community. We need our community. We need to ramp it up ourselves. We can't outsource, you know, the future of our youth.
Period.
We cannot outsource that. We need to take a stand in our community, and we need to work together to tackle this issue. We cannot outsource it.
Yeah, period. And this is why what I was saying even last week, encouraging people, if there is a skill you have, if there is a talent you have, if you went to school for a particular thing and you know that could be helpful out here in community, bring that skill out, man. There's plenty of different groups, and like you said, just people coming together at the Healing and Rebuilding. That isn't one organization. That's just people coming together in community. And I think that, again, if you're a person who's made it out almost, you know, you got a business and now you want to mentor young folks. I mean, this is what it takes. It really takes that resilience of people to step up and lead and guide folks. And I think that you've been saying it a lot, you know, calling for certain leaders. It doesn't have to be just on the political sphere. What you're saying is a community can step up. And there's a lot of people who have been resilient in our community that can also step up and bring that stuff to the table.
We put this call out before, and I'll put it out again. For these youth in our community, we'll make time.
That's right.
Converge will make time. If you have a young child at home, if you have a young adult, a teen, they might have an interest in media. They might have an interest in podcasts. They might have an interest in video. You email me directly, Omari, O-M-A-R-I, at whereweconverge.com. I got time for our kids. You know, I mean, clearly move around trying to cover this and that stream for our kids. I got time. And I would challenge everybody else in our community. Let's figure out what we can do. Let's figure out what we can do as community. You know, government's going to do what government does, but as community. So again, if you've got a young person at home, if you've got a teenager or a young adult, and they got an interest in any of these things, won't cost you nothing. Just email me. I have time for kids in our community. We'll help teach them. I know. You down, Bobby Stills? 100%. Eric, you down?
I'm always down.
Daryl? Trey?
Yeah, you know it, man.
We got time, you know, so just email me, Omari at whereweconverge.com. Next up, man, we talked about this last week. There's been a lot of arsons happening in South Seattle. There's been a lot of arsons that's happening. The Rainier fruit stand, there's 4 fires right there, and that's the fruit stand that a lot of people in our community actually go to that fruit stand right there across from Burger King, where 23rd and Rainier intersect. This guy's like, he might not reopen. In the South Seattle Emerald, you got that one, Daryl? All right, Bradner Gardens fire among dozens of fires around Rainier Valley with undetermined causes. And I mean, this summer, it's been overshadowed because of a lot of stuff with protests and COVID and everything else. But there's been a lot of arson that's out there. And I mean, this as well is not okay.
Absolutely not. First of all, like you just said, a lot of these fires are happening in small businesses. At the end of the day, small businesses are literally the most impacted by COVID. We are seeing these numbers, like you just said, 100 businesses closing down that may not reopen. This is really another effort of the pandemic that we're seeing unveil over time. And honestly, again, any coverage that we could give to spotlight this and to highlight this, I'm glad we're doing it, because these arsons have got to stop. I don't know who is doing these. I have no idea. But honestly, they're affecting small business, man, and they're affecting folks
even more than that, even residentials as well. I mean, people are indiscriminate. Construction sites. There's all kinds of stuff now that's burning, in our city. And so you can read more at the South Seattle Emerald. There's a reward out, $10,000 reward as well, for leading for information about this case. And before we go to break right here, last one. You got this one, Daryl? Says this is from the Seattle Times. Western Washington home prices hit record highs, right? And what you're saying here is the median King County home sold for $742,900. Home prices elsewhere in Puget Sound region also broke records, and basically up 15%, or jumped 17% from the average from Puget Sound, from $500,000 to $585,000. So you got to get your coins right. You want to buy a house in King County, man, you got to get your weight up.
But it's also a testament to a lot of the disparity. We talk about housing justice all the time on this platform, and honestly, it's another thing. I'm hoping any leader, I'll say this out there to Mr. Lance Randall, I'm just saying that this is another thing that needs to be addressed heavily in our city is housing affordability. We've talked about it a lot. We know Mayor Durkin has some plans that, that we see are kind of rolling out here. Again, there needs to be a huge effort to change this because it's really creating a full disparity here in our city. We're seeing the rich, and then a true breakage of the middle class family into lower class, now lower income families and low to moderate income families. That's what we're seeing. I'm really hoping that somebody has some great innovative ways to change these statistics, though.
Me too. I gotta tell you, Trey, I haven't felt this good on the Morning Update show in a while. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I really needed those few days off, man. I feel great. I mean, we're gonna get into all of this here on the other side of the break, but it's really good to be back.
You know what?
I think I got my mojo back.
And I can feel your energy, bro. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Yeah, this is back to how we used to do it. Y'all know what's up, and y'all been rocking with us since day one. All of our day oneers, man. Shout out to y'all.
Definitely. Hey, we're gonna take a short break right now. When we come back, we're gonna jump into these issues over here at Cal Anderson Park, and then also some of the groups, community groups that are out here represented within the collective of this protest ecosystem. We're gonna be talking to Jason Beverly of the Engage team. You are watching the Morning Update Show.
We're right here at East Precinct. It doesn't get any closer than this right now.
Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. As a small independent media company, we rely on the financial support of individuals and business members to stay on the front lines of the news that's important to you.
Okay, this is the best thing ever, though. No, I'm just saying. So but I come from a live background. So early on, I come from started way early, college radio, everything. My whole career, for the most part, been live. So you just tap dance a little bit, and then you hope that the tech guys bring it back. And so here we are. But like I said, let me recap because I know we lost a minute or two there. Here at Cal Anderson Park today. And Cal Anderson has really been a hub of a lot of stuff. Yep. When CHOP was going on, everything else, our guest right here, Jason Beverly, I saw you over there a lot. There's still people here, but let me introduce you properly. Jason Beverly from the Engage team. How are you today?
I'm doing very well. It's a beautiful day in Seattle.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day in Seattle. It's an interesting day here at Cal Anderson Park, for sure. So once you tell us, I thought it was important. A lot of people in Seattle, really nationally, but we're talking about here in Seattle, when they hear protesters, then it's usually all one lump sum. And really, when in Seattle protests at least, there's a lot of different groups, organizations, some new, some old, that make up this sum of protesters. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the Engage team?
Yeah, absolutely. I think protest and creativity go hand in hand. I mean, a protest is whatever you can do to say what you got to say and do what you got to do. The Engage team specifically is trying to present as many opportunities as possible for you to engage with the movement, right? It's cleaning up trash. It's providing, mutual aid to houseless people. It's showing up on the front lines. It's protesting the businesses that aren't supporting, the messages that we want to push, Our lives matter, we want to say it.
So what are some of the key points of Engage? What are some of the main things that you guys are pushing?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, first and foremost, it's pushing all of the things that we've been doing so far. Black Lives Matter, first and foremost, right? The messages of equality and equity through it, right? I believe that equality comes through equity. That's one of the biggest things to the Engage team. The Engage team tries to uplift as many local leaders as possible so we can get work done and we can provide the best opportunities for the people around us, We've got a world to make better.
Right, and how many people make up the Engage team maybe as a core and then as supporters?
Yeah, the core is about 5 to 10 people, and then from there you got 10 to 20, 20 to 30 people. You know, a lot of them are volunteers, a lot of them are allies who come and listen to the local leadership, specifically the black leadership that we have when we have events that we need to.
So right, and you mentioned quite a few different things here. You said pick up trash, or you said get on the front line, or you said pick it in front of a business. Is there a specific tactic? You know, some different protesters, they have different tactics and how they roll. Is there a specific tactic around Engage?
Well, yeah, it's organization. I mean, you try to empower the leader in that space. So for me, picking up trash, like that was something I was doing from day one, right? So whatever tactics I have, you know, going out there, trying to create different teams, whatever, you know, there's different organizations, there's different leadership that we have to follow. So you try to empower the leader that knows the most about that space, and then empower their tactics.
Right. Now, we got a clip. You have this clip, Daryl? This is from yesterday.
Yes.
Down on Second in Washington. Yeah. It looks like you guys were down there making sandwiches.
Yes, we were. We're making some turkey and cheese sandwiches, some PB&Js, and providing a lot of aid to a lot of people in need down there.
All right, so we'll play this clip. We'll talk about it on the other side.
The Engage team, we are doing the food service. We are handing out food over here, as well as tents, sleeping bags, pillows, toiletries, anything these people need. So the city is not going to make changes overnight, so we got to do our part to provide for our community until these changes are made. So if you can, continue to donate to any supplies, any volunteers as well. Continue to make those calls and send that email if you be in the future street. So stay fine in Seattle.
That's what you meant. 3, 2, 1. Okay, no problem. So in that clip right there, we see making sandwiches and it looks like personal products, hygiene products. Yep. So you put it together down in Second and Washington, but where's it go? What's the end result?
It goes to a lot of people. Right in front of us was an entire line of tents of houseless people. The result is you try to get as many hygiene products and try to take care of the community as much as possible. Specifically down there, I mean, that's the most African-American people, specifically houseless African-American people I've seen in a long time, and it's heartbreaking, but to know that we can provide some kind of aid, I mean, that's why we do the work.
Did Engage provide any aid up here when the shelter was going on?
Yeah, so a lot of the things that a lot of the extras that we had, we actually brought right over here too. Shout out to the entire team over here. They've been doing an amazing job. We've been here trying to do things too, connecting with this team and supporting this team that's here. But yeah, we've been here as well.
Right, and so for an organization like Engage, just trying to get the biggest, fullest picture for our viewers out there, because people hear protests, and a lot of times it's just someone that's in the street, or it's just is protesting, or at least what Engage does, is it limited just to the streets? Are you guys always in the streets? Are you guys on one of the everyday marches, or is it more like strategic things like what you talked about, putting the meals together and the mutual aid? It's a mix of both.
It's all of the above. I mean, it's whatever the need is, I think, is the biggest thing. You know, we can be out in the streets protesting, we can go to businesses, we can support other teams here. The motto is one team, one voice, one message, right? So we try to connect with as many people as possible and collaborate. You know, we're not trying to be, you know, the big one that encompasses everybody. We're trying to empower whoever we can.
Off the top of your head, I don't need an exact count, I know it's a curveball. How many different types of organizations are making up like this protest ecosystem?
Oh, that's a great question. The newer ones, like 5 to 10 ones that have held it down, and the ones that are here as well, probably like 15, 20 to 30. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's a lot of very niche organizations, so you try to include those as well. But yeah. Right.
And what is the end result that you want? I mean, you've spoken in a broad terms here. You want change. You want the value of Black lives. Mm-hmm. Is there anything specific? What things specific do you want to see happen or occur here in the city of Seattle?
Yeah, absolutely. I want, some of the Black children that I know personally to step out into the world and get to do whatever they want to do, however they want to do it, creatively, systemically, whatever they want to do without limitation, without hesitation as well. I want them to be empowered in every space, creatively, in every space, or in any organization. That's what we want. Peace.
Yeah. How you going to get there?
Step by step, one day at a time, okay? We got to knock down certain walls right now, make sure that we're not dying in the streets, first and foremost.
So what are some of the walls that you want to knock down?
Some of the walls that we want to knock down? A lot. Access, opportunity, both in the workplace and just in daily life, especially in places in our city. You know what I mean? Like we had our Madison Park March. We specifically went there because that was a predominantly African-American neighborhood, and we don't feel comfortable there anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I used to swim at Madison Park. Madison Park, Madrona,
That's what I'm saying. And when was the last time you went there?
Swimming? Nobody wants to see all this, man.
You working out.
I'm just trying to save the public, so I wouldn't traumatize nobody. But yeah, it's been a while, to be honest with you.
Gotcha. And that's exactly what I mean. Like, to have people who were here years and years, decades and decades, and not be able to go to the places that they, once spent their time. That's unacceptable to me. We want.
So, but how do you change something? So right now, there's people in the city of Seattle. They're watching this. They're not a politician. It might be somebody who's sitting in Magnolia, Lake City, Northgate. They could be sitting on the south end. And you're like, oh, okay, well, man, that sounds like a good idea. Yeah. People should feel comfortable going to a beach. Mm-hmm. What exactly, though, is it that you're wanting to occur for that comfort zone to reemerge?
You got to tap into those conversations. I mean, if you're walking around the street and you see an African-American person and you clutch your purse a little bit, you got to ask yourself why. If you cross the street, you got to ask yourself why. If there are African-American people who don't feel comfortable being in your neighborhood, what is it that you're doing and participating in that makes it like that, You got to change those conversations and change those narratives. Those conversations happen, a lot of y'all with your white families, like, you got to have those conversations in those spaces. They're not comfortable, but you got to have them.
Mm-hmm. What do you want to see happen in City Hall with the City Council and the Mayor?
I want representatives to actually be a part of what's happening in the city. I want them to be on the ground and connect with the people that actually need that aid. I want them to represent what is truly going on here and fight.
Do you feel that they're not right now?
I think they're trying, but I don't think they're doing it to the point that we need. And I think that's the point. I mean, that's why we're continuing this effort, right? Mm-hmm. And the biggest thing is transparency, right? We need to know what's going on and what steps we need to do as a community and as a city to make things happen.
All right.
That's my biggest problem.
So, but before we go to break, let people know how they can get up with Engage.
Yeah, absolutely. Instagram is the Engage team. All of our posts will be there. All of our events will be there. We also try to shine as much light on other people's events too, so go to as many of those as possible as well. We support as many organizations as we possibly can because everyone's doing amazing work. Everyone's got their space. So one team, one voice, one message, and thank you for tapping in.
All right, Jason Beverly of the Engage team, thanks for joining us. We're going to take a short break right now. When we come back, we got Bobby Stills, the postman. He's going to give us an update of what's going on over here at Cal Anderson Park. You're watching the Morning Update Show.
We're right here at East Precinct. It doesn't get any closer than this right now.
It produces culturally relevant content for Black. Which is raw, objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. As a small independent media company, we rely on the financial support of individuals and business members to stay on the front lines of the news that's important to you.
We're back on.
No, it's all right. Where are we here? Welcome back to Morning Update Show. I hope all of our shots are in order over here. Joined by my man, Bobby Stills, the postman. First of all, man, let me say what's up, Bobby.
How's it going, man? It's a long time since I've been on camera, man. I don't want to break the new equipment. So I've been falling back, playing my position, stay in my lane.
Stay. It's tough now because now we got like lanes, but for a month straight with these protests, when it was the Western Barricade, the Chaz, the Chop, the barricade again, there was no lane.
Nah, a little bit of everything, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, run with everybody, run with nobody. That's kind of how it was, you know what I'm saying?
That's true.
Talk to the people.
Right.
Talk to my friends, do what I can.
Well, yeah. You're the unofficial or maybe official mayor of Capitol Hill.
Nah. I'm a Belltown brat, man.
Oh, okay.
I just happen to live in this area, so I'm fortunate enough to know a lot of the people in the neighborhood, a lot of the business owners, a lot of the people that are, they've been here longer than me. So I'm fortunate enough to be able to know those people.
Right. Now, I know before we go into our discussion here, a lot of our viewers out here, you might remember Bobby Stills, the postman, because when it was going down just right there, one block down, especially at the Western Barricade, it was Bobby. I'd be in the stream, and I'd be like, man, I need goggles. Boom, here's Bobby Stills. I need a gas mask. Here's Bobby Stills. We need water. I mean, and even back actually before the Western Barricade, during when the marches were going on, we marching around the city, and some of those marches would be like 4, 5, 6 hours. I'd be like, I'm dehydrated. All of a sudden, Bobby just pop up out of nowhere. I'd be like, hey, bro, here's some water. Anybody else need water?
Man, you're calling me out on stream though, and the problem was that then I'm getting private texts from people like, where are you at? He needs you, yada, yada, yada. I'm like, there are other people out here too, but you're my man, so, you know, I come out there and make sure you're doing all right, and I've continued to do that, and it's been a pleasure to be on Converge's team, and I appreciate everything you do. I think a lot of the community members appreciate what you do, and we're very fortunate to have people like you working in media.
Man, well, thank you.
Yeah.
And again, I've told you this plenty of times, but you, Eric Calligraphy, Jake, as many a days, man. My life was literally in you guys' hands. And people, I don't think a lot of people realize how dangerous a lot of this stuff was. You know, no matter if it was when the police barricade or when the CHOP was here. And man, I'm looking through a camera, and you guys always had my left, my right, everything else.
Square, man, it's a square. Hey. Don't be know what's going on behind, next to you, above you too. Flashbangs going off.
You guys definitely kept me safe. So before we pop into what's going on here, and during the live streams, people, when the CHOP was here, people learned a lot about Cal Anderson Park, because I used to give like a brief history of it. If you could bring up this clip, Daryl. So before we jump into what's going on today, I wanted to talk here about Cal Anderson. Cal Anderson, as we point out, he was the first openly gay state legislator.
Bravery.
Yeah, and he represented the 43rd district as a representative and as a senator. And a lot what people don't know is that Cal Anderson also served in Vietnam. And he won 2 Bronze Star medals and 4 Army Commendation medals. Had no idea. Wow. Yeah, and so, you know, this park right here, Capitol Hill, named after Cal Anderson, a staunch fighter for civil rights and equal rights, and of course, LGBTQ community. So we find ourselves back here at Cal Anderson. Cal Anderson as well was one of the politicians who really felt like, man, there's not going to be equality unless there's equality in the black community. And so he was one of the people years ago, that reached into the black community to build bonds there. So tell us, Bobby, what's going on up here at Cal Anderson?
I mean, the park is closed, right? I know a lot of contention has been with this shelter house that's behind us. There's been a lot of people from the community that's been out here trying to do some outreach, human services, and these are private citizens that are out here putting in their own money, their own time, really trying to make sure that the people that are really in need are being able to use these facilities, and yet this has been, you know, a flashpoint of direct contact with the police, of clearing this place out, coming in, clearing out all the encampments that are in here, but yet there's a lot of people in the community that come out, work out, bring their dogs here, and a lot of the community members that are out here providing mutual aid, human resources, you know, feel like they've been focused on against different public officials. So like behind us now, you know, they're not in the park, they're outside the park, they're still going to do what they're going to do. So there's been some meetings going on with some people that have been working, you know, in the park, doing human services and
there's
outreach.
Actually like a back channel that's occurring between Seattle
many
Parks
different groups of people.
Yeah, right.
And it's not a hidden secret. No, it's not one person, it's a group, you know, and they've been talking with you know, outreach, like city officials, outreach programs, housing, all sorts of different kinds of things, and they've actually made some movement to get some things done. So I think on the 15th, the park is going to be back open to the public, and they're trying to decide what to do with this shelter house. You know, they were doing some good things within the shelter house. They were feeding people. They had some housing people up here. They were getting people signed up for their stimulus checks, all that good stuff. And so some of the people at parks, you know, they're trying to decide what to do with these. So there has been some movement, those meetings. I applaud everybody that's come to those meetings and given their input, and I think things have begun to move forward. So from the Parks Department, at least, I'm just going to speak for the Parks Department, they've kind of developed a grant. It's a COVID community healing grant And it's open to organizations and or anybody in the public if they want to. So basically, it's a $2,500 grant. It's dedicated to supporting the recovery and healing from the tri-pandemics of racial inequality, civic unrest, and economic downturn. We're going to try to post this later for people. There's an application, and we're going to try to figure out some way that this shelter house can be used for the community to serve the people most in need of human services.
Right, and you speak about human services. What we saw, at least what I observed, was that the shelter house got occupied. And it was occupied for about 2 or 3 days. I actually did a story on it, and we'll play some of these clips here. The police came in, that was a Friday, and they swept everybody out. And then SPD sat back. And I believe gave the city an opportunity for all of these different organizations or agencies within the city to kind of step in. Parks, human services, housing if they're involved in it, navigation and everything else. And a lot of what we heard when I was out here was that things weren't reaching the actual ground level. You know, I mean, when we talked to Parks was like, well, you know, we've talked to them, and the last press release that they put out said that their navigation team, one of their teams, had engaged with some of the people here.
Yeah.
So you witnessed that.
I mean, yeah, we spoke to somebody with the Nav. We still continue to speak with them about it. They have actually helped out. They found housing for some people that were in dire need of housing. They didn't want to be out here in the parks, and you know, they found them some housing. Parks have put together a plan, talked to some of their directors and stuff, and you know, they're trying to make something happen. You know, and that's a good thing. I think this park has been here for a long time. It's very necessary. It's a hub for some of the people that's in dire need of outreach. And so, I mean, there's been some people out there within the city that have really tried to you know, put their best foot forward and actually get things done. And the people continue to go ahead and continue to bring in other outside resources. You know, as long as the bridges are being built and the communication keeps on going, you know, I only see good things coming in the future. And you know, the most important thing about it, it's community driven. You know, this is not some private company in here. They're not going to wait on the city to get things done. They're going to go ahead and do it themselves, and that's what they've been doing out here, is they've been doing it themselves. And they've had some speed bumps, some roadblocks, you know what I'm saying? But they figure out ways under, over, or around, and they're going to continue doing what they do because they're passionate and they care about, you know, the people out here.
Right. And now I got a clip. Are you able to play this, Daryl? Daryl? Well, while he gathers himself over there, but basically, August 19th, I was out here, and as well as August 28th, I was out here as well, and talking to people that occupied the shelter. And at the time, I spoke to Ali, and I spoke to Hank. And what they were doing was actually making a plea. They were pleading. To be honest with you, they were like, man, we're not professionals. We're not trained in this. We're just some regular people who are out here just trying to, you know, put a stopgap, basically. And it was a lot of just calls out for these actual human services to be able to come into the park. And what we see right now is, yeah, park closed but not closed. I don't think Kyle Anderson's ever been closed, to be honest with you. It might have been officially closed or whatever, but it's never just been closed.
No, I mean, officially it's been closed, but people are going to continue to come through here. It is, you know, I mean, I've been chased out of this park before numerous times years ago, you know, by SPD of saying, hey, what are you doing walking through the park? It's closed. And I'm like, yo, I'm just trying to get from A to B. I live on the other side of the park. So it depends on, they make choices of when they're going to go ahead and they're going to. We paused? Pause for the calls.
Hey, bro, I was letting you know, when you start moving around over there, we get nervous over here.
Be in there. We need a whiteboard for him.
You know how it feels now, huh?
Still live? About to get live. About to
Did
represent.
you see the image? No.
He's joking.
Okay, but it's still waiting on me. Okay.
Oh, we're down to 56. It's horrible.
It's me. It's my fault.
No, it's no signal.
No, they love you. I even.
My mom was like, "I love you, Bobby."
Guys, the day that we're about to auction y'all off.
All right, back with Bobby Stills. Omari kicked them off the show. Viewership was down. You know, about to bring proof of the play up in here.
You know what time it is. Are you single?
Yeah.
All the way know that.
How come people don't know I'm single?
You don't have that.
Because you look wifed up,
really
girl.
Do be like, I'm off limits, huh?
You look
Somebody
wifed
else
up.
told me that. You know what? I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. Let's keep the vibe. Keep the vibe.
You look really.
Best thing is like I'm on set with one of my good friends.
Yeah.
So Daryl, are you able to play one of these clips here? So let me introduce this clip. This was on August 18th. This was August 18th when I came up here and they had actually cleared out the shelter. I spoke to Ollie and I spoke with Hank.
We're here to feed people out of the kitchen. We're here to accept donations and supplies to be distributed to people who need them. And we're here to shelter the people who are the most marginalized and most at risk and make sure that they're safe. It's literally that.
Describe to us, what are you seeing here? What's your average day consist?
I mean, there are people who are mentally unstable, who are on drugs, who need access to resources. They need access to mental health. Please, I'm begging the city, I am begging social workers, I'm begging mental health workers to please come out here. Please put your money where your mouth is. Please give back to the community. Please come out here. We are not trained to handle all that's going on here, but we're doing our best with what we have.
Parks and Rec has been non-responsive, has been dragging their feet on this, and as far as contact, we've been contacted by the police many times.
This is an open plea to the city to please help us. Please stop sending police officers. Please send social workers. Please stop sending officers to mace people and arrest people. Please send mental health workers to talk to these people, to try and see if we can get them into places.
What do you say to people like who live in the neighborhood and they're like, hey, well, you know, we want to use the shelter space. We want to be able to bring space over here. And now they feel that they can't because you guys are operating this shelter operation.
Oh, well, I've never seen this rented out. If they wanted to rent it out, it's been closed during COVID anyway.
We don't want this to be an actual homeless shelter. This should just be a point where people can come to receive services that are offered by the city. And right now, the city is not offering these services.
All right, so that was back on August 19th when I interviewed Ollie and Hank right here. Also, want to let our viewers know that we reached out to the Seattle Police Department and we reached out to Parks, see if they wanted to have anybody here today to be able to talk more about what's going on here at Cal Anderson Park and any of the other parks around the city as far as these type of issues, and they denied on both of them. Got back to us, police, SPD got back to us. They said that we asked for the chief. Said the chief tied up today. Lots of protests and things going on around the city. Parks still kind of open, waiting to hear back from them, but just wanted to let people know that we did reach out to SPD and we did reach out to Seattle Parks Department. What do you say, Bobby, to people like you live in this thing? You actually live right across the street from the park. So, but what do you say to people who are like, hey, you know what? I want to be able to come use the park, me and my kids. I don't feel comfortable around this and that. And, you know, they don't. Maybe they say they don't feel safe and things like that. You know,
I understand that perspective of it. You know, I think parks are supposed to be pretty and nice and clean, but it's also a gathering center for the entire community, and everybody, you know, it takes all types, you know, up here to down here. And if you can make this a hub to actually, it's going to improve your neighborhood and the entire city if you put things in place here to help people that are gathering here. You know what I'm saying? There's different parts of the park that are used by everybody. You know, we see the garden still up back here. They don't know what they're going to do with that, but that shelter house hasn't been used. And if it can be used to really do some good for the people that need it the most, I think that's a great thing. And anybody's not with that, you know, I want to keep the conversation going. So if there's anybody out there that's against this, please contact me, Bobby at Where You Converge, and we can get your input into it, and maybe you can help, and we can figure out a different solution. You know, some of the people out here that have been here every day organizing and setting up this stuff, you know, I don't think they don't want this to be a permanent thing. They want help now. You know what I'm saying? They didn't see the city doing that. They didn't see some of these organizations that are getting all this money donated to them divvying out that money quick enough. So they decided they were going to come in here and they were going to do it themselves. And it's been working. It's been happening. So if there's anybody that has any feedback, I think any kind of feedback, whether it's criticism or it's a way that you can help, I think it's welcomed with a lot of people. You know, so please, I mean, your input is necessary. You live in this community. You know, these guys in here in the tents live in the community too. You know, all voices matter, you know, everybody, especially the ones that are, you know, most vulnerable out here. They need help. You know, everybody's comfy in their homes and stuff, and you want to walk through the park and enjoy the park. Why can't these people enjoy the park too and get services? Yeah, man, it's fun to play soccer and stuff like that, but why can't you serve a hot meal, you know?
Man, I can see, you know, we've covered a lot of different stories over the last 3 months, I guess, since May. And I can tell that this is something that means something to you.
It's been like this for a long time in this neighborhood, not just this neighborhood, all over the city. You know, right next to our office down at Pioneer Square, you know. This stuff is, you know, people need help. There's all sorts of bad stuff going on in this world. And if, you know, I can help with something, you know, I've seen this. You know, I've seen with these people out here doing stuff really, really, really good, and they're doing it the correct way. And then to see, you know, them get swept and get all their donations took, man, that's hurtful. You know, not being able to get back their stuff. You know, they're making real progress with some of these people here. And then, you know, certain city departments come through without no haste, you know, just quickly.
So maybe something else you might be able to address then is because when people here, I understand, and people here in the park, and with protests going on and everything else, these people, this population that you're talking about here is a separate population from people that gather over here to protest.
I mean, some running the same. You know, they are different. During the day, you see some people, I mean, it's like family over here. We know a lot of these people, whether they're a protester, whether they're an organizer, whether they're a business owner around here, whether they're doing outreach, own art studios, you know what I'm saying? It's all sorts, you know? So during the day, if you want to come down here and you want to help out and you want to do some human services and stuff like that, and then go protest at night, it's two separate things. But a lot of the public is looking at it as the same, one and the same, which it's not. You know what I'm saying? You don't see these guys out here chasing, protesting, yelling ACAB all day. You know, a lot of them have that mentality in their brain, but that's not what they're here for right now. They're here to do outreach, human services, make sure these people have some people to talk to, you know, whether it's just a meal or it's a conversation. You know, they're here. You know, when there's people in the city that are paid to do this kind of stuff, but they're not here.
So this is a last question, and we have to go to a break here. Is what you're saying is that the people who were operating this shelter here, these are people, regular people, who are just like, man, here's a need, let me fill the need, and then try to reach out to professional organizations to come in. And what you're saying is that organizations or agencies that are set to be in place to rapidly deploy to a situation like this did not. And so these guys stayed in their shelter, and it's continued.
Correct. Because, but you know what the community members did is they also, you know, they reached out to these people that this is their jobs to do that. They're not professionals. They're community members, and they saw a void for human services, so they stepped in and said, we're going to do it ourselves. And then they said, look, we're out here doing it on our own time, our own dime. You know, why can't you guys come out there? And a lot of people have been receptive. You know, so they're trying to work with other people, other departments, which I applaud them for that. And I just want to see this kind of stuff continue. And, you know, we talk a lot about this being some type of model and not staying here and moving into another area that needs help like this. So if this works and we can really give these people some help, you know, then we move on and we help make our city better.
I'm guessing you're going to continue with these weekly meetings. Then.
I'm going to try. You know, I'm going to show up. Other people don't show up. You know, that's on them. I can't control that. You know, it is what it is.
All right, Bobby Stills, the postman. Thank you very much, brother. You're watching the Morning Update Show.
The only speaker that was really saying some shit was Bobby.
We're right here at East Precinct. It doesn't get any closer than this right now.
Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective. Praised by
All right, welcome back to the Morning Update Show. Did you turn off your mic, Bobby? Okay, I'm glad you got over there. That was Bobby Stills, the postman, also a producer here at Converge Media, also a good friend, a protector, some of everything, man.
Man, Bobby does it all. Let me just say, man.
100%.
Yesterday we had a little event. Bobby's like, "Oh, don't worry, I'll get on the grill." What? Bomb, shrimp, steak, surf and turf.
He's
You know
a
how?
chef,
Yeah, he's
too.
also a chef, man. And then I turned around. My homegirl was locked out of her car. Bobby's like, "Don't worry, man. Let me out the hell out."
He got the Slim Jim.
Man, Bobby, man, to the rescue, man.
Bobby Stills. So like I said, today up here at Cal Anderson Park, just thought, people should just really see what's going on. And we did extend a handout to several city departments and city agencies because it's important that you hear from actual live people in a real street level setting. There's lots of press releases that come out. There's stuff on Twitter, but it's nothing like someone who represents an actual organization speaking to you, the viewers, our citizen stakeholders, as to exactly what it is. So we'll keep that invitation open, of course, to the Seattle Police Department, to the Seattle Parks Department, to the Human Services Division. You're more than welcome here on Converge at any time so we can speak to you, or actually you can speak directly to the public in a long format. Talk as long as you want, so people can actually hear from you as to what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the things that I love the most about Converge. We really do provide a balanced story, balanced narratives for folks, and opportunities, because again, we understand some of the major media channels don't always have that long format. You were able to showcase that with Councilmember Juarez's interview and getting a full-on glimpse of who she was and why she votes the way she does, and then give people that insight. So once again, I love that at Converge. We can do that, buddy. Give them the whole time if need be.
We can do it. So tomorrow we're downtown Seattle, undisclosed location. We're downtown, and Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday we're in the Central District.
That's right. We're back on location, man. I'm really excited to showcase how folks get down and hopefully start, really segmenting ourselves, because we got some amazing segments with our Wellness Wednesday, our Throwback Thursday, and our Food Fridays, man. So I'm excited.
All right. When you're excited, I'm excited, because when you're excited, all that black girl magic just starts percolating.
There we go.
All right. Well, we're already standing, so that's a good thing then, huh?
Absolutely.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us here on the Morning Update Show. A big thank you to DQ Daryl from Dancing in the Rain Media for his flyaway kit out here. We're using Daryl's kit, and like I said, we'll be with Daryl the rest of the week. When we're outdoors, there are some signal issues that occur, so we would just ask you to stay patient. You know what I'm saying? We'll always be right back. Also want to give a big thanks to our crew on set today: Jake, Bobby Stills, Eric Calligraphy, and Proof in the play. Hoochie. All right, everybody, until tomorrow at 11 a.m. Peace.
Every voice and sing, dealer than heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. ride.